Welcome back, and thank you for joining for another one of Mike and Billy's whiskey reviews. Today, we're going to do another bourbon. I'm going to give you, shouldn't probably say it's the beginning of the video, but I am anyway, what my best bang for your buck bourbon is. This is the Henry McKenna Single Barrel, aged 10 years. I am no stranger to this whiskey. No stranger. Friends love it. Guys I work with love it. And at least right here in Columbus, Ohio, you know, it's been something that's been around for the last year and a half, and I had a few chances to try this bourbon. And it is not only a bourbon with an age statement on it, but on top of that, they put the, when it was barreled, and then also the barrel numbers. This is barrel number 4008, 4008. So maybe you have the same one, we'll have a similar experience. I will say this. I have had a couple of these bottles, and obviously they're different barrel numbers, and I was happy with all of them as far as the consistency. Now this one here is a 50% ABV from, let me see, what distillery is this? The Heaven Hill Distillery in Louisville, Kentucky. They also make Elijah Craig. So if you're unfamiliar with this name, it's because they make Elijah Craig. This is also the longest aged bottled and bonded whiskey in the United States. Now, if any of you are unfamiliar with that term, so was I, so I looked it up. So I guess in 1897, the US government came up with some type of standard as far as these are the correct procedures to making whiskey or bourbon. 50% ABV, and I gotta tell you, it's 100 proof, and they put this little dollar bill on the top, which I thought was fun. This bottle retails for low $30 here in Columbus, Ohio, and actually is readily available, which is good for me because I enjoy this bourbon. You know, it's funny, I had a couple new subscribers to the channel the other day, and one of the new guys, you know, was talking about some whiskey review, and he was just like, man, you should try the Henry McKenna Single Barrel. And I said, funny you should say that. That's up on one of my next whiskey reviews. Next time I'm doing a set of whiskey reviews, usually do 2 or 3 at a time, I'm bringing you that Henry McKenna. So this whiskey here, again, is a single barrel. Aged 10 years, 100 proof. Has a lovely, lovely caramel color to it. And here recently in 2018 in the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, it won double gold. So just to let you know, it's not just my opinion and the opinions of my friends around here. This is a good whiskey. Also of the whiskey competition in San Francisco, here in just the year of 2018, it went double gold. Okay, so this is very similar to some of the other bourbon smells. You got your vanilla, got your caramel, but it's very soft and subtle. It's all there, so it's full but soft, which don't always go hand in hand with each other, but somehow this is both. With a nice bit of oakiness also in the background on this one. No doubt gained from the 10 years of maturation. It's just more rounded, refined caramel, honey, and vanilla as compared to some of the other bourbons that you might be familiar with. Yeah, this is just an excellent bourbon. When I'm out at the bar, you know, I look for, especially, you know, all bars, even if they're not real high-end bars, will have, you know, a few bourbons, have your bullets, have a few things like that. But I tell you what, whenever I see this Henry McKenna, it's an easy choice for me because this is a very easy drinking whiskey. And you get that on the nose. The flavors are there, but you have to work for them just a little bit. They don't attack you. They don't come out of the glass and attack you. It's probably a good time to mention, this was another gift. This particular bottle was another gift from, was it my boss or was it Keith? I can't remember which one. Let's just say it was Keith, because my boss doesn't have a YouTube channel. So we'll say, Keith, this is your bottle that you gave me. Not that I haven't bought this bottle a few times myself, but the particular one that I'm reviewing was a gift. So I thank you for that. Whether it was Keith or whether it was Adam. I think whoever gave me this bottle, whichever of the two gentlemen gave me this bottle, I think they brought it over unopened, and we just hammered it so hard that at some point there's like, man, I'm not taking it home anymore. Which is the best kind of drinking night. On someone else, and they leave the bottle there because you drink that much of it. All right, first sip time. And very similar to Blanton's, there is a lovely spiciness that comes up right away on the palate, right away. You don't get any of that spiciness on the nose, but as soon as it hits the lips, I'm telling you, there is just a lovely cinnamon spice. It is both cinnamon and allspice is kind of a cop-out, but a little bit of that. And just finishes real nice in a nice honeyed finish with just a little bit of oakiness that hits the side. I'll tell you what, Elijah Craig and this Henry McKenna is the only whiskeys I've ever had from the Heaven Hill Distillery in Louisville, but both of them are really good whiskeys. I've had a few of the Elijah Craigs. Oh, by the way, the name, was it Henry McKenna? Henry McKenna was an Irish immigrant to the United States that I guess dabbled when he came to the States as far as changing the recipe from what they were doing over in Ireland, and kind of brought some of the same techniques, but Americanized them somewhat. And you know, this was a recreation, or at least a whiskey made to commemorate his effort at what is now the distillery. With a little bit of water, I'm actually picking up a little bit of that spiciness now. Maybe it's because I already tasted it on the palate and it's just right there in the front of my mind, but you definitely also get that oakiness on the nose when you add a little bit of water as well. Just really, really solid overall whiskey. And again, I mean, I'm not saying this is the best bourbon I ever had, but kind of my bourbon standard as far as quality compared to price is Bland's, just the original Bland's. You know, when it's around, it's a little hard to get, but when it's around here in the States, you know, it's 60, 65 bucks. And it's a very good whiskey, got a nice little spice to it, which reminds me a lot of this whiskey. But, you know, it's roughly twice the price of this Henry McKenna, and not nearly as easy to get your hands on. So if you want to know what American bourbon's about, you haven't had very many of them, you don't know where to start, this is a great one to start. You know, it's not too expensive, and it's a really good, well-aged whiskey for the price that I think brings extremely good quality and a really good whiskey experience. Anyway, that's my take on it. Get a bottle, try it for yourself. Not a lot of money, if not. I spend more money with me and my girl eating at the local Mexican restaurant than this bottle costs. If a quick meal Friday night before we get home from work is cheaper than a bottle of good whiskey, it's a good whiskey to try. Now, I did the Weller Antique 107 before. I gave it about an 85, 86 out of 100. And again, I hate to rank bourbons the same way I rank scotches, but this is a notch better. This is, you know, an 87, 88 out of 100 whiskey in my opinion. This is a, you know, a B+ bourbon in my opinion, for any price. I mean, it's a very enjoyable experience. It's at a high ABV. You know, it's got 3 or 4 layers to it as far as the palate goes. Try it out. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Until next time, I want to thank you for joining us for another one of Mike and Billy's Whiskey Reviews, and I wish you happy drinking.